Hello viewers. Tonight I'm going to talk about a comment that was left to me. It is by Cryosada Essay Saves. He says, and this is about the video I did about Ashen Hollow, how he's moving away from the Elden Ring lore and he's going to do the lore of other video games. And about his lack of videos for Elden Ring in comparison to Dark Souls. So anyhow, and it was about a lot of other subjects too. It was about the FromSoft community as a whole. It was about how, for many young people, video games and other types of media are starting to constitute their religion. They're starting to become religious items, video games, and other types of media, to the point where this is sort of, in a sense, it's sort of the drive for these people to live. And the Ashen Hollow Cryosada says, I've been thinking this exact way for so long. Thank you for putting it into words and explaining it this way. The Dark Souls series in the manga Berserk has become like a religion to Gen Z kids who identify as moralistic but not religious. They play these games and read the lore like it was the Bible. This all started though because many lore tubers were in college. During that time, the series was getting more popular, and many of these lore tubers, these YouTubers, were taking sociology and philosophy classes. At the time, they were playing these games, so they were using that perspective to look at these games. These YouTubers did not take into account that there were many depressed atheist kids that would use these games as a way to cope with their own lives in a world that they felt had no meaning to them. And that was in my opinion, that was a very good point by Cryosada. And I would say also that it isn't just atheist kids, atheist children, and younger people and older people too. It's a lot of people have become confused, even people who are religious, so to speak. And atheism itself, it's an ideology, it's a worldview, it's a belief system. Okay, those are beliefs that people have. And many of those people consider themselves atheists have commonalities in belief, such as many of them have a high value for modern science. And to many of them, they have almost, very systematized, very set views about science and reality, such that it's, for the most part, a very rigid type of belief system, in a sense of religion. So atheism is itself a philosophy, ideology, and religion. So, but I do agree, there are many of those individuals who though they don't have a religion, they play games that have everything to do with religion. They watch lore to YouTubers who talk about these subjects, but never get into the details about what the media teaches. What does the media convey truly? In other words, all right, they're giving many people a great deal of information about what the story is. Some people are explaining the meanings of some things, but they're not telling people what it teaches. All right, what should I do? Should I be a Christian? Does this undermine my religion? Should I be this? Should I be that? What should I believe? Elden Ring is expressing a great deal of, ideological knowledge. So let's say I'm the viewer, and I'm looking at the YouTuber, or I'm playing Elden Ring or any of these games, and they're presenting things about God, things about life, death, spiritual things, ghosts, all types of matters. And let's say I'm the viewer, and all of this information is being impressed upon my mind. Now, naturally, a lot of people are going to sort of make that their ideology, their religion, their worldview. It's going to affect them so deeply. They're going to remember those images. They're going to remember their experiences playing Elden Ring over and over and over again, just like they were playing Dark Souls over and over and over again. It's like mental conditioning. And then they're done playing the game. They go and watch their favorite YouTubers who talk about it. Now, I was very pleased with this comment. I was very satisfied. I replied, I said, I'm glad you left I'm glad you enjoyed this. Basically, that was my reply. Because I was glad someone enjoyed it, because there were some FromSoft people who were, they were leaving the thumbs down, which doesn't matter. But the reason I'm making this video is because that comment is gone. And I don't know if YouTube deleted it. I don't know if he changed his mind. Maybe he thought a little less of me somehow. And maybe he decided just to take that comment back. But anyhow, I'm going to clarify some things. Regardless of what the situation is, because I did recommend a person called the Tarnished Archaeologist. I said the Tarnished Archaeologist has made some content about Elden Ring that has been very, how should I say it? I said that his content was probably the best that you could find for the most part. And I still sort of believe that in a sense. Well, I do. However, I'm going to say this. Even in the video, I said, I don't agree with everything this man has put forth. And I say that because, although I recommended this man for people, I said, if you want to watch a YouTuber who can perhaps explain things to you, different things in a very effective manner, and can basically knows more than most of these YouTubers who are making these lore videos, something you can learn something from. I said, go to him. Now, I don't agree with everything this man has put out, especially regarding religion. I already know that this man does not, it would seem, think very much about Christianity. I already know. He put out this video called Creeds of the Erd Tree, Abundance and Faith. And maybe the person who left that comment, maybe he decided, okay, I want to see who this Tarnished Archaeologist is. And maybe he saw this video and saw what he said and what he promoted and said, hey, I should even take that comment back on that other channel, because, maybe that's what happened. But I have to clarify my position, because he made a video where he promoted Bart Ehrman. And Bart Ehrman is an individual who basically says that Christians created Christianity in the sense that they made Jesus God. That Jesus never claimed to be the Messiah. He promoted Bart Ehrman as though what Bart Ehrman says is fact, is basically absolute truth. He didn't say, hey, in my opinion, I agree with Bart Ehrman. No, he promoted Bart Ehrman as a key part of his video. Now think about this. This is supposed to be a lore video. He's promoting Bart Ehrman to people, many of his viewers, trying to actively influence them. He's trying to actively influence them. Now this is supposed to be about a video game. But he actually made a video where he promoted this man. And a man who basically says, Christians are wrong. The early Gospels, Jesus never claimed to be God. He wasn't resurrected. He just died. He was just an ordinary man. Something that the Tarnished Archaeologist is well aware. Real Christians don't believe that. Real Christians believe, and the Gospels don't even say that. Now, Bart Ehrman uses early Gospels and he says such and such. The Gospels conflict. He says early Gospels don't say Jesus was God. He says things like that, which is, quite incredible. As far as Jesus' historical existence, there's so much manuscript evidence. Not to mention there's historians such as Tacitus. There were critics of Jesus Christ as well, who were Roman pagans. there's history like that too. But in regard to what the Gospels say, which is what Bart Ehrman sometimes brings up, there are particular verses that that clearly show us that Jesus was the Son of God, is the Son of God, that Jesus is God, the Prince of Peace, all right, the Word of God, and therefore God, the Logos, not God the Father, but the Son of God, the Word of God, the High Priest who's been given authority by his Father, as the Gospels say. Now, people have different opinions regarding the Trinity. People have all types of different opinions. I don't even give my position a name. I don't even get involved with other Christians regarding the Trinity. I don't even really say anything definite, because to be entirely honest, regardless of what you say, no one will ever be satisfied unless a lot of, and some people who promote Trinity. I don't like getting in those arguments, because when you have people like the tarnished archaeologist and Bart Ehrman trying to basically debase Christianity in every way they can, and take Bart Ehrman's word as some type of fact, and his opinion as some type of fact, and say, hey, you know, Radagon from Elden Ring and Marika in Elden Ring is a lot like Jesus Christ. Yeah, Radagon and Marika, they lost their, the idea that tarnished archaeologists decided to present was that apparently the legend of Marika and Radagon was just so great that it wasn't the truth. So the idea is, he's saying, he's bringing up some ideas from Bart Ehrman and saying, oh, Jesus died just like a regular person. And really, what the truth is that people just made a religion out of him and just decided to believe that Jesus was God. And their faith was so strong that it's just like the faith in the video game. So I can say that the tarnished archaeologist, he's promoting theology. And I just have to say things like this because I didn't think at the time. I said, okay, if I had one of these YouTubers who promotes lore, and I were to say, okay, which one do I think is the most serious? Which one do I think does the most work? And sort of presents some things and information that is very good for the most part. And I said, okay, let me promote tarnished archaeologists and say, hey, tarnished archaeologists, I've never seen this person before. I'm going to talk a little about him. But I didn't think at the time, because I knew that he's been basically sort of inching towards spreading this whole theology of, hey, faithful people are stupid. They have faith. They're not very intelligent, though. That has been happening ever since Demon Souls. These ideas. And I remember when I bought Elden Ring, I had made a specific point not to even touch Elden Ring lore content. I had made a point of not doing it because I knew that these people, it's just like Cryasada or whatever his name said. A lot of these people, they're interested in promoting their ideas that they learn from psychology or philosophy class or what have you, or whatever type of opinions they have. And a lot of them, they want to promote them like they know what they're talking about. They want to do it at the detriment of others. If you go in that comment section, you're a Christian, you say, no, we're Christians, we believe Jesus is God. You're going to have a lot of edgy, so to speak. You're going to have some people who are going to be agreeing with the video uploader, and you're going to be against a good deal of debate opponents who are going to be disagreeing with you and basically undermining your opinion and giving, and your comment is going to be lost in the whole sort of the fan club of the tarnished archaeologists. And all of these YouTubers who have big subscriber bases, people are very interested in their videos. They're very interesting videos. And I say this now. He may have a good deal of information, and he does, more than a lot of these people. However, they weren't like me, in the sense that a lot of these people, and some of the ideas that he's talking about came from Reddit. A lot of people who were talking about Elden Ring on Reddit, they were coming up with a lot of theories. And a lot of these YouTubers, they happen to have the skill to edit videos and to talk and sort of this individual, this man isn't so charismatic, but he had enough know-how to make videos and to make content. A lot of these ideas come straight from Reddit and the forums, okay? But a lot of these YouTubers, they're taking advantage of that information. They're putting it in video format, and for myself, because I was avoiding this community, all of the ideas and everything I've found about Elden Ring has been on my own. Up until now, because you see, I had made a point of not watching these people, but I decided, okay, I've won the game a few times now. I'm writing my own information down. I'm doing my own blogs. I'm making my own videos. And I'd even done that with Demon Souls. Alright? And what was so good about Demon Souls is it didn't have a very big lore community. And so when I went back and played Demon Souls and created my 2 blogs about Demon Souls, my 2 videos about Demon Souls, I just put it this way. All the information that I found on my own. I didn't need to watch any of these people's channels. I didn't need to go to Reddit. And I sort of had my own opinion about it. If you know about those videos, they're right here. I had 2 videos about Demon Souls. I took my time and I read through books, and I really did do a lot of research. And I took my time, and I really enjoyed that experience. I've been enjoying the experience of really sort of investigating everything in Elden Ring too. But if you watch these videos on YouTube about lore, please know, especially if you're an impressionable person, that a lot of them, they're promoting their theology, they're promoting their ideology, they're promoting their ideas. And a lot of them are not talking about, many of these people, for example, they talk about a lot of things, but not very often do they talk about, what does this piece of media teach? What is so good about it? How can this improve your life? A lot of them don't even believe in the concept of, and there are a lot of people today, they don't even believe in the concept of good and evil, truth and falsehood. Some people believe everything is subjective, and they're just here to enjoy the product and promote the product and make some videos about it and make some money with it. Okay, but these videos were quite interesting. However, I did notice he started to bring up this idea. The deity of Christ Jesus as God is some idea that Christians, sort of invented after Jesus died, and that, the later Gospels are basically a fabrication, which is incredible. But I suppose I ought to start playing this. I ought to start talking about this some. I guess to see what all of the fuss is about. Or at least on my end, I'm sort of fussing about it. Okay, let me see what I have here. Yes. Okay. Right, I may skip this along a little bit so I can review some relevant points.
By asking his students how earliest history...
No, let me take a look at this. He's going to mention the name of Bart Ehrman very soon.
The religious historian Bart Ehrman has a nice way of framing the earliest history of Christianity by asking his students, how did Christianity go from being the religion taught by Jesus to a religion taught about Jesus? What he means by that didactic question is that, based on the earliest writings we have about Jesus, which are found within the Synoptic Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the teachings of Jesus differ quite a bit from the eventual religion that sprung up around him after his death and purported resurrection. To take one example, Jesus, based on the Synoptic Gospels, never called himself the Son of God, never called himself divine, and certainly never said that he was the equal of God.
Now, he's promoting this man, Bart Ehrman, and he's using it in connection with Elden Ring lore. And he's stating Bart Ehrman's research as though this is just, oh, look at this. This is how it is. And he's going to connect it to Marika. He's going to connect it to Radagon. But before I talk about that, he says Jesus never claimed to be God. He says Jesus, this individual, a lot of these people, they're not Christians. They don't like Christians. And they have a lot to say about Christians and what Christians believe and what we think. But oftentimes they won't cite scripture, and they don't show any respect, to us or our beliefs. They don't say, hey, this is just an opinion we have, and we could be wrong. Some of these people, they want to state it as fact, and there is an argument to be had, and I'm pretty sure that comment section is very one-sided on that video. But anyhow, let me see. We have here, when Jesus is in the desert, Satan is talking to him. We have then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning them, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Again the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain. But what I wanted to show you is this. Jesus said, It is written, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. So Jesus said, who is he tempting? Who is Satan tempting? Who is the devil tempting? The devil is tempting Jesus. Jesus said, Do not tempt the Lord thy God. Now, he's not tempting the Father, he's tempting the Son of God. Alright? And Jesus says, Do not tempt the Lord thy God. So Jesus is saying you're tempting God. Alright? Now, people can have their own interpretations of it. This doesn't, this, and of course Bart Ehrman does not believe that Jesus is the Son of God either, but he's an historian who discredits everything about Jesus and the religion of Christianity, but he's a Bible historian. That's what he does as a profession, and he intentionally goes against everything Christians believe. What does Elden Ring do? Elden Ring is always focused on some type of Christian archetype religion, right? FromSoft, whether it's Demon Souls, you have the people who have God. You have Elden Ring, the people who have the greater will, and they're always the people you have to fight, or they're always in a position in which they're not particularly considered respectable. In Demon Souls, you didn't have to fight the worshippers of God. That's what they used to call them in Demon Souls. In Demon Souls, you had a few characters who worshipped God, because in Demon Souls they just called, the people who used the faith stat they all worshipped, basically someone called God. They called them God. Now in Dark Souls, who do these people, who do the faithful for the most part worship? They're worshiping Gwyn. And so forth. In Bloodborne, it's blood. And basically in Bloodborne, they took, the Lord's Supper, drinking the blood, and they carnalized it, and they made it so that, people are really drinking blood. And they took this whole little church setting, a lot of these ideas about communion, communing with blood, and basically they took these Christian ideas and they used some Catholic, some Roman Church aesthetic too, and they basically debased a lot of Christian concepts. It was really disgusting. And some people will play that game, they love it. What does it teach? It doesn't promote one good or one sort of, it doesn't promote one, one commendable thing in regard to Christianity. It takes from Christianity, takes what may be called Christian imagery, if there's any such thing as a Christian image, because God does not need images. But nonetheless, they take those sort of stereotypical archetypes, so to speak, and they use them not to praise what Christianity is, but to debase it. But he decided to promote Bart Ehrman, which is very interesting. So I have to say, I know I told you that this man, he has a lot of good videos, and I will say he has a lot of good videos. But I also have to say, I have to clarify this, because in case anyone gets any sort of hard feelings about the fact that I said, hey, Ashen Hollow, he's sort of moving away from Elden Ring lore, but I'm going to tell you about someone who did find some interesting stuff about symbolism and different things having to do with the art, the landscape, and many other things having to do with Elden Ring. So I decided to tell people about the Tarnished Archaeologist. But because I told you about him, I feel the obligation to say, yes, this man too, he is another individual who is basically, he's giving his own theology, he's giving his own spiritual teaching, and he's saying, hey, the Christians have it wrong. You can use Elden Ring to understand Christians. Okay?
Instead, he taught about the coming apocalypse and how people should live in the remaining time they had in order to be admitted into heaven. We here at Tarnished Archaeology are not going to weigh in on the merits of those shifts, but clearly, just how early Christianity went from being a religion.
He already has. That's the funny thing. He's saying he's not going to weigh in, but he already has spread the message, and he already basically said it was valid. He basically says that these are shifts that happened in the religion, in the worship of God. We've always worshipped the same God. God has a Son, He has a Holy Word. That has always been the idea. Whether people call it the Trinity, whether people say that God is, whatever type of doctrine or opinion they have, just about every Christian believes that Jesus is the Son of God, that Jesus is in in some sense God, the Prince of Peace. Some people have monolatry. Some people believe that Jesus is God but not the Most High God. There's a lot of different ideas that people could talk about. But nonetheless, what the scriptures say is very clear. The Christian understanding of these things is very clear. But instead of actually looking through scripture, no, he doesn't want to do that. Because he wanted to literally promote that point. But regardless of any type of confusion or any type of conflict, differences of Christian opinion, we have John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and Jesus Christ is the Word. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. This is in basically the English Bibles. Whether you're talking about Geneva, King James, a few of the translations that came afterwards, but it has always been there ever since the Greek Bibles, Greek Orthodox. This has been and they still use the same Bibles. Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic uses the Bible that has John 1:1, and King James has that. That's Now, some of the newer translations, they take this out, and it's not very clear. Some of the newer translations, they don't have, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So if any Protestant wants to say, hey, we're Protestants, we're better than Catholics, and we know better. If you're carrying around a Bible that doesn't have John 1:1, that doesn't even have what the early Greek Bibles had, then you're carrying around an inferior Bible that doesn't express the philosophical importance of Jesus Christ being the Word. Okay? The Word was God. That's how Jesus is God, because the Word is God. Okay? Now, he not being a Christian, it would seem, he not really caring about this, is why he says, these Christians now worship Jesus as God, but it wasn't always that way. He was just a guy who was trying to teach people how to live before the apocalypse came. You see how he simplified that message? Tarnished archaeologists decided to take it upon himself to teach theology. Okay, he decided to take it upon himself to promote Bart Ehrman. Okay? Now, people have different opinions about this. Yes, I know. Some Christians don't believe John 1:1 should be in the Bible, but it's been even before the English translations began. Even before there was even an English translations, when the Roman Church had complete control and there was a Latin Vulgate, there was John 1:1. In the Greek Church, there was John 1:1. Okay? When the English Bible was finally translated, because it was against the law, you couldn't do it, and many people died trying to translate the Bible. What did they translate? They translate John 1:1 into their English Bibles. But, there are some Christians who have some different opinions about that. They read the newer translations. They don't believe that John 1:1 should be in there. They don't understand the philosophical significance of the Logos. And they don't care. And, they have their own opinions. That's fine. We all have our own opinions. But this was a video about video games. Okay, this was a video about video games. And this man he's literally teaching us what we think about Jesus as Christians, generalizing, saying, "Oh, this is how this is how the religion became. No, Jesus wasn't, he wasn't God. This is what he's saying. He's giving us a theology lesson. A lot of these people, so many of these people, whether it be Cassative or Agon or any of them, I got kind of sick of watching the videos because it's more than just about the game with those people. Okay, it's about more than just the game. They feel the need to teach people all of these different types of ideas that they have. Okay. But I'm going to continue listening.
Centered on the teachings of a Jewish apocalyptic preacher and the coming end of the world, to a religion entirely constructed around the divinity of Jesus himself and the miracle of his resurrection, is one of the critical ideological innovations in all of world history. Although in some ways it is not that unusual. In fact, religious symbols and figures are rarely revered as divine in their own time. Usually many generations pass before the full divine mythology coalesces. Countless Catholic saints have been canonized posthumously, and the traditional biographies of the Prophet Muhammad and Siddhartha Gautama were all written centuries after their respective deaths, allowing plenty of time for mythology to develop. And that should not be so surprising. After all, it is easier to mythologize something in its absence than it is to deal with the difficult realities of the flesh.
And I just say this, any lore video you watch, and some people may not care, some people may entirely agree with him. I'm just giving counsel to those who may want to listen. If you watch any of these lore videos because you have Elden Ring and you want to understand some more things about it, or maybe you just want to interact with the community and know what people are talking about, which I don't even think really is worth doing, but I say this: you should take everything with a grain of salt, because they are most certainly, they're trying to express ideas. He's trying to pretend he's being impartial, but he's not being impartial. He's being very partial. Okay, basically, you don't have to be a genius to realize that Elden Ring is a game that has something to do and derives some things from Christianity and so-called Christian symbolism. You don't have to be a genius to realize that. We'll see what comparison he's going to do. We'll hear what comparison he's going to make. There are a few points I want to cover in this video.
Blood. But what if the divine symbol of your religion is not a person, but an object? A tree, for example. In Elden Ring, this pattern of posthumous deification is maintained not only with Marika, who, though undoubtedly worshipped in her own time, has become an even more omnipresent symbol since her imprisonment. Indeed, that is why her most common symbol, seen in the churches of Marika, is actually of her imprisoned pose. But so too the Erd Tree, that
and he's talking about the crucifix,
life-giving power of the Elden Ring,
the pose where she's crucified on, basically
it was gone.
A type of cross.
Its followers only growing in its absence. Here is the story of the first burning of the Erd Tree and the evolution of faith in the lands between. The first burning of the Erd Tree is a topic we've touched upon before, in our very first video, in fact.
Okay, he's going to talk about different things.
Science are often seen as antithetical. Take, for example, Francis Collins, who was seen as a controversial and unique choice.
Okay, different things, but
they exhibit characteristic climbing patterns, which begins with the Erd Tree felled and the Elden Ring shattered. This age is dominated by an illusory phantom Erd Tree, symboled by the Celtic cross on its sigil, and by Marika's statues, where a giant concealing veil hides the of the burning of the Erd Tree.
Okay.
Then, the Golden Order begins as death is removed from the Elden Ring and the sickly Erd Tree stump around the untended stump. In this age's apogee, defensive vines protect the Erdtree stump that still contains the Elden Ring. There is much more to talk about as we contemplate these eras defined by the evolution of...
He said other things, but I'm not going to play the whole video.
We'll discuss the heresies of the later stages.
I'm not going to play the whole video because basically what I want to talk about is the fact that in that video, in this video right here, Creeds of the Erdtree, Abundance, Faith, and Order, he's promoting theology. And I don't know if Cryosada SA Saves is a Christian or whatever he believes in, but when I saw this comment and I realized that it was deleted, I said, I think it's a good time for me to clarify some of the things, because I told people, hey, if you want to see a good lore video or some good lore videos, go to the Tarnished Archaeologist. He has some good content. But I have to clarify something, because people may be confused. They may think I'm promoting him in the sense that I'm saying, hey, go to him. You can learn so much from him. No. Because I forget that not everyone is going to really think about things like I'm going to. In other words, if I look at one of his videos, I have it in the back of my mind that this individual has his own ideology that he's trying to impress upon the audience, and I have to really take everything with a grain of salt. And you should do that with everything. Never become a fan of one of these people. Don't become a fan of media. Don't become a fan of these people, of these YouTubers. They have their own ideas. It's just like I said in the other video. I'd said a lot of these people, they play these games. Oftentimes you can tell what they value by how they play them, and that's very useful. It's a very useful thing in Elden Ring. Then he was comparing Ronnie's ending to Buddhism, which I think is entirely... I think that's a terrible comparison. I would compare more of what Ronnie did to Gnosticism, but that's something that when she destroyed the statue of basically the body of Marika, that's a whole nother thing for me to talk about. But anyhow, let's talk about Elden Ring's sort of connection to Christianity, and one big thing that I would like to explain regarding it. Now, it is true that just about everyone already knows that Marika is hung on a crucifix like Jesus Christ. But we fight a big fish in that in Elden Ring. And it's called the Elden Beast. We fight a big fish. It's a big fish with stars in it. And you may think, well, what is that big fish with stars in it? Why do we have to fight a big fish? Why do we have to fight a big fish? A lot of you people are probably wondering, what is the purpose of fighting a big fish? And you're probably thinking, well, I've talked about this before. I've talked about the age of Pisces and why New Agers they want the age of Aquarius. They don't believe that the age of Pisces is they have a belief in astrological ages. And they consider this age to be the age of Pisces. They say the age of Aquarius is coming, and that the age of Pisces is the Christian age. Okay, now what is Marika on? Marika is crucified. She's on a cross like Jesus Christ. Okay, she's on a cross like Jesus Christ. She's hung up on a cross like Jesus Christ. So basically, the Elden Beast takes her body because and puts it in this dark primal materia, this chaotic matter, crucible, so to speak, whatever you might call it, and forms her body into a sword. That's what he does. He uses her as a sword. Now, the idea is that she is nothing more than basically a vessel of the of the zeitgeist, of the astrological. She's basically a vessel for the spirit of the age. She's a vessel for Pisces. Pisces uses her as a tool to carry out his will. The idea is that Jesus Christ is nothing more than, how should you say, I guess the word would be a scion of this astrological age, an incarnation of that particular phase of universal existence. Well, I guess scion wouldn't be a good word to use. Okay. But it's almost like New Agers basically believe Jesus is just one among many. Christians don't believe that. Now, maybe you who are watching this as a Christian, maybe you're not. If you don't like this, you could always watch something else. If you think that maybe I'm being discriminatory against other religions or what have you, right now I'm talking to people who want to benefit from it or want to listen. If you want to listen, that's great. Anyhow, if you don't want to listen, that's fine. Sure, whatever. Okay. But the reason I'm saying this is that amongst people who believe in Theosophy, New Age religion, they have some interesting ideas about the age of Pisces. And Jesus Christ. And I just need to find this information so I can read it to you so that you can know what many New Age people believe in. Now, there was a New Age book that expressed the idea, this New Age belief in the age of Pisces and Jesus Christ being sort of an avatar, so to speak, of Pisces. Jesus is the Piscean fish god who at Luke 24:11-2, upon his resurrection, is made to ask, "Do you have any fish?" This is from page 117 from the Christ Conspiracy, the greatest story ever sold, from Acharya S., who promoted this idea that many New Age people have that basically, and this is her name is not Acharya S., her name is Dorothy Milne Murdoch. But you see, a lot of these New Age people, they like to have some type of mystical name, right? They're not Christian, they're different than Christian, then they have to have a special name now that they're not Christian, that they're whatever you would call it. Okay, she was not trained in education in Christianity. She was trained in the classics of ancient Greece. Okay, but she has something to say about Jesus and how he's the Piscean fish god. Even though you can't find Christians who say that Jesus, it's just like if I were to go up to a Muslim person and I would say, "Hey, you're a Muslim person, you worship the moon god." I'm not going to say that because those people claim to worship Allah. They claim to worship God. Do I agree that with their ideas? Do I think that God does not have a son and does not have a son who is Jesus Christ? No, I don't agree with that. But I'm not going to lie about them or even say, "Hey, this is how it is." No, if I have an opinion, I would say that's an opinion. But if I simply say, "No, this is the way it is. Jesus is the Piscean fish god." All right, how is that so? You see, these New Age people had simply come up with that idea because they believed that a major part of their religion was that Christianity would be removed at some point in the future. And so it hasn't happened yet. They're waiting for it to happen. And so they have some ideas about it. And so Elden Ring expresses some of those ideas, people. Elden Ring expresses some of those ideas. So who do you fight? Who do you kill? You kill Pisces. You kill the starfish. You kill the fish with stars in it. You kill the constellation. Pisces is old. Pisces is corrupt. You need to kill it. You need to kill the church. You need to kill Christianity, the Christian age, and you need to bring in a new age, right? That's the idea. There's a problem with the Christian age, and you have to move it to a new age, right? Okay? And it has all types of implications. And they know it. Okay, they know that Christianity has a lot of different implications. There's a lot of things they just do not like about Christianity. They just don't. New Age and Theosophical religion came from a woman called Helena Blavatsky, and there were other individuals like Helena Roerich and other individuals, a lot of them from Russia, among different other countries, all over the world eventually. But they promoted a lot of these ideas. Okay? And I don't know if I've showed you all of the information I wanted to show you. But basically, media is propaganda. Media can be used as propaganda. Okay? So I said in my Demon Souls blog, I had said it before, I said there's a threefold purpose behind having an esoteric subtext in a piece of art as I see it. Firstly, to communicate a message to an audience initiated in some form of occultism, such as symbolism, magic, alchemy, and so forth. In other words, if you know what that fish is, if you know what those concepts in Elden Ring are, it's sending a message to you that you know and other people don't know. Secondly, media can be used, esoteric media subtext can be used to hide a message from profane or vulgar audiences. A profane person is someone who's not initiated into the mysteries. What type of mysteries? Mysteries of magic, mysteries of occultism, mysteries of philosophy, different mystical religions. All types of different things that oftentimes are restricted to covens, lodges of Freemasons, so to speak, all types of groups, okay, and people who know certain cultural and symbolic knowledge that most people don't know. So if you're unworthy of knowing it, if you don't know the knowledge, you don't understand it. Thirdly, and this has the most significant implications, to influence the subconscious mind of an audience. Even if they don't understand the art, it will still affect how they think and behave without them even being aware of any change in their minds. Now, media being used in this third way is most certainly propaganda. It's propaganda in the sense that you don't know how your mind is being affected. So a great deal of media, especially in video form, affects the subconscious mind, such as news, movies, and video games. It is a fundamental and pernicious element of propaganda. In other words, you don't even realize you're receiving a message. If we know what media we consume, if we know what it means, we can safeguard our minds from unwanted influences and subconscious education. And that's going to require us to critique media. Okay, now, you'll notice that these people, like the Tarnished Archaeologists, all these fanatics of FromSoft and many other games, they talk about different things regarding the story, regarding what things mean, but hey, they're never critical of it. They enjoy it, they love it. They'll never say, okay, I've discovered what this narrative means, and I don't like I don't like this about it, and I'm going to tell you, the viewers, why I don't like it. No, they like everything. Everything that Elden Ring teaches and promotes, they like. They agree with. It's truth. Now, if you've played Demon Souls, they make the little Christian archetype look dumb. You have all of the priests in chainmail. A lot of them are on the ground and are just dead and lifeless. In Dark Souls, who are you killing? You're killing Gwen. who do people like to, it's the fallen empire. It's the fallen ideological position. The people who are being dethroned, so to speak, are the old order. Okay, it's the sort of Christian archetypical order. They're the ones with the miracles. They're the ones who rely on faith. And they're just shown to be corrupt. They're shown to be morally reprehensible or hypocrites. In every game, it doesn't matter which one it is. In Bloodborne, you have Lawrence, you have the Healing Church, drinking blood. Okay, they never portray the church or this little Christian archetype or faith in any good way. In Elden Ring, you have the blindfold, where basically they're saying, well, if you have faith, you don't even need to see, basically. And I forget the item description, but they're making fun. They're saying, this is blind faith. You're stupid. You have blind faith. Okay? And that has all types of implications. Where is the blindfold? Let me take a look at this. Right here. This is the blindfold you can wear. And especially faithful characters get to have that blindfold on their faces. Okay? And that's quite something. But, people, hopefully you'll do your own research, because I did promote Tarnished Archaeologist. I did say, hey, the Tarnished Archaeologist, he's making some very substantial Elden Ring videos, but just remember, he's a fan too. He likes these games. He likes what they present. When you hear things about the story and the narrative and the symbolism from him, just know this is something he likes, no matter what it shows or what he learns from it or what he says the Elden Ring narrative teaches. He likes everything it represents. He won't criticize in other words, according to him, everything that narrative teaches is good. That's a very, very disturbing thing when you have impressionable viewers, many young folks and even older folks who are watching that content, and they're looking for something to believe in, and they connect so deeply with this game. They watch these lore tubers. You have all types of people in the lore business. You have people like Miss Chalice. You have pretty lore tubers. You have all types of lore tubers. Just all they do is talk about lore and narrative, and they get plenty of views. Okay, and they never criticize those games. Some of these people, and maybe even you, the listener, are addicted. In a sense, most of your worldview is basically developed through the media that you consume and through the videos that you watch, commentating on it, and basically not talking about the implications it could have on your mind, what it could teach you, what effect this is going to have on your on basically your worldview. No, they won't talk about that, but they'll talk about how good it is. And not to say you can't really talk about the benefits of media. It's in terms of how it could benefit your life or your mind or your worldview, but you're getting your information from fans. Do you really expect the information is going to be that good when you're getting it from a biased source, when you're getting it from partial people who have a money incentive? This isn't an honest discussion. Even when you go into the comment sections, say one negative thing about the story or the game or what have you. Say one thing critical of it, and see how you're treated in the comment sections and the forums all over the internet. They won't like that you said something critical of it, and you said, maybe this narrative presents some things that are ideologically partisan, and maybe there are a few agendas behind making a game with this narrative. Maybe they're trying to teach people to think in a different fashion, and they're trying to promote a particular worldview to them that is contrary to the Christian worldview. It's so obvious, and it's so simple for me to say that because they've been using Christian archetypes in every single game that they make. And I dare any one of you people to basically prove to me otherwise in that comment section. If I'm wrong, go down to the comment section or even send me an email or do a video yourself responding to me and tell me how they haven't used the Christian archetype or taken ideas from Christianity in every game they make. And I'm talking about post Forever Kingdom. I'm not talking about Ever Grace and Forever Kingdom and Kingsfield. Okay, those games that I've played, that many of you have not played because most of you folks did not hear about FromSoft until Dark Souls. You weren't playing Armored Core. A lot of you folks, are quite new to this. So what I'm talking about is Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and of course Demon Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. If I'm wrong, and they haven't used the Christian archetype in all of those games, and they haven't really sort of put substantial focus on Christianity and really sort of displayed a very some very strong opinions about that religion, then hey, please correct me. If I'm wrong and they don't use Christian archetypes in every game, then correct me. Here in Elden Ring, you're basically you're killing the spirit of the age, and the spirit of the age is Pisces. It's interesting that you have an astrological symbol called Pisces. Did any of you know about it? The astrological symbol of Pisces is a fish. That's what it is. This game has to do with astrology. Okay, the last enemy you fight is a fish. Just think about it. The last enemy you fight is a fish. You saw it for yourself, just in case you did not, you did not take that into account. Right here, a New Age writer, Dorothy Acharya S. She says Jesus, the Piscean fish god. I mean, there's other particular citations, quotations I can find where they're talking about, the Christian age is the age of Pisces. This is what, and I will have more quotations. I will look them up, but age of Pisces. Okay, let me look that up. And all you have to do is a Google search for it. The age of Pisces began AD 1 and will end in AD 2150, with the story of the birth of Christ coinciding with this date. Many Christian symbols for Christ use the astrological symbol for Pisces, the fishes. Okay. Now, the Christian symbol for the fish it has nothing to do with astrology. But you see, to New Age people and people who practice astrology, or at least some people who believe in the age of Pisces, not all astrologers adhere to this understanding, but many do. Many do. So, when you kill Pisces, you're killing the age. You're bringing in a new age. Okay. That's what you're doing. And the item description for this sword, look it up yourself. It even says this means an age is coming to an end. What age is coming to an end? The age of Pisces. You destroy the fish, you kill Radagon, you kill the vessel of Pisces, and that's all they think Jesus was. To them, Jesus was nothing more than a vessel for the spirit of the age, of the astrological age, animated by the power of the stars. That's all. They expressed this in Elden Ring. Now, the tarnished archaeologist, I already know right now, he's not going to talk about that. I know he won't talk about things like this. Maybe he will. I'll be surprised if he does, but even if he does, it's a good thing as far as he's concerned, as far as I'm concerned. But many of us Christians, we are entirely against that. If you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus Christ, you don't believe that he is the tool of a constellation. No, you believe Jesus Christ was the Son, the Holy Word of God, by which God made all things, the Logos. You believe Jesus is wisdom, and wisdom, it is said in the Gospels, is life. You believe that he is the Word of God, the high priest of the church. And so how could we ever think that Jesus is just a pawn of some fish god? How could we ever think such a thing? They promote that in Elden Ring. It's so obvious. A constellation of what? Pisces. That's what it's a constellation of. And the interesting thing is that in Elden Ring, they basically gave us the biggest information, the most important information of all, which is that what you're fighting is Pisces. You're bringing an end. The age is coming to an end. You get to bring an end to the age of Pisces, and whichever age that comes after that, it doesn't matter. The age of Pisces is over. The Christian age is going to end one way or the other. That's how I take that message that FromSoft is delivering in this narrative. And many New Age people believe the same thing. They believe a New Age is coming that will be called the Age of Aquarius. Now, what is the Age of Aquarius, you might ask? Well, that's the age that comes after all of this. Okay, that's the age that comes after this age, this so-called Christian age. So, if you go to my community tab, I have something from Vampirella, volume 14. So a mentalist is a mind reader. Okay, so here we have it. Being a stage mentalist helps people accept the Kali Yuga, so she does it. If working for the CIA helps further her goals somehow, well, she'll do that too. Okay, otherwise known as the Age of Aquarius. So the Hindus have a conception of an age, and basically the Kali Yuga is an age. They have yugas, they're different ages. So in our English language, the equivalent is the Age of Aquarius. It's not going to be the age of Christianity. This ideological understanding of Christ and Christian values, they believe the Age of Aquarius is different. The Age of Aquarius is going to be a completely different ideological it's going to have a completely different ideological dominance. And the dominant religion is going to be New Age religion, Eastern religion, and Christianity is going to recede into the background. So what they do in Elden Ring, you get to kill the Elden Beast. You get to kill it, and you get to bring that age to an end. You get to do it. In whatever fashion you see fit, you get to kill that fish, you get to kill Pisces. That's what they see, that's what they think Christianity is. Whether you call it ancient alien theory or whatever, this is what they believe. So people, this was a very heated video. It was probably very incoherent. But I just had to clarify some points because I said, hey, Tarnished Archaeologist, he's making some pretty interesting lore videos. But and I especially wanted to express this information for the person who left the comment, because I think that person was very serious. He really liked the video, and I decided, if he removed that comment because of some of the opinions I had about this man, and he didn't really understand that I said that, hey, I don't agree with everything he says, and I just recommended him because it's been a long time since I've seen lore videos, but he really promoted some very deep investigations and research, and I said, I'm going to talk about him. No. I mean, I'm not a fan of anyone. I critique all media. I critique content creators. All right, that's what I do. So this clarification is for everyone, basically. And anyhow, people, may the Lord bless ye, and farewell.